buzzer gets me every time. Hey, everybody, I am Daniano. Welcome into another episode of That Happy Hour Show live on a Friday. We are celebrating Happy Hour. We have a great show in store for you guys. We're going to talk about some movies coming up. We're going to talk about, some trailer reactions. We've got everything. Without further ado, let's start the show.
Poppin' Off presents That Recap Show.
All right, joining with me to break down all of the movies we're looking forward to and some of the instant trailer reactions, it's Jon Rico.
Hey.
You just gave away what we're going to be reacting to.
Hey.
Ooh, Angie made your camera freak out.
Shit. Oh, there we go. I didn't give away anything. I could have just been holding this for my own leisure. You just gave it away.
I did not say anything, nor did I hold up the Darksaber.
I held it up. I didn't say anything.
You said it. Anyway,
said it.
Happy hour. Cheers. Really? You're going to down it instead of cheers? Cheers, everybody.
Yeah. Cheers.
It is officially Friday evening here. It's after 5 here. I know it's after 3 there, but...
Yeah.
Or after 2 there, I guess.
It's 5 somewhere and 6 o'clock where you are, so perfect.
Yeah! So, we have a lot of stuff to get to. I guess the biggest thing is that we're going to be doing live reactions to the recent Mandalorian Season 3 trailer.
Yes.
And, we're going to dive into some of the movies that we're really looking forward to in 2023. And
very much looking forward to that.
Hopefully everybody out there that's watching, throw in some comments. What are you most looking forward to in movies and TV shows coming up this year? I mean, there's just looking at the list, like... I don't know if you were watching as I was live putting them into my part of the rundown. Oh, okay, but I was watching the video clip you sent me that has all of
the IGN video.
Yeah,
really good video.
And I was like, I would put them in my top 5, and then I would go, no wait, I got to move that one, and I'd bring it down and put it in honorable mention, or then I'd put in a couple in honorable mention, and then I'd bring one up to the top 5. I was going back and forth and back. There's just too many. There's so many movies.
It's gonna be a great year.
Yeah. And we're not even doing series. We're literally we were just looking at movies right now.
Oh,
and
yeah,
you factor in series and then movies that may not go to the theaters, like some of the Netflix originals movies and some of the stuff that might specials that'll air on Disney Plus and stuff like that. I mean, we got a lot of recapping to do, man.
Yep, we're gonna be busy.
So let's kick this off with Mando Season 3. I mean, we're gonna be live recapping that, following that episode by episode, as we're doing now with Last of Us and Bad Batch. I did hear somebody said this on TikTok that Bad Batch will not finish before Mando Season 3 starts airing. I believe we're gonna get at least 3 episodes where it's gonna be happening at the same time.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We're gonna be so busy, man.
It's gonna be so fun. It's gonna be great. We're gonna love it.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be so busy.
It is. The things we do for the things we love.
Yes. Anything Marvel. Yeah. Yeah.
Of course. We're all excited for Marvel.
Not only Marvel, but Marvel properties too. Sony Marvel stuff is coming out this year too. So we got a lot.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's a Craven movie coming out. God.
Is it coming out though? It's
coming out. I didn't shoot it. It's coming out. It's coming out.
I see that getting pushed back. I don't know why. I just feel like it's gonna. There's been nothing about it really. We saw a couple of.
It's Marvel. You have to be more optimistic.
It's Sony Marvel.
Oh my God.
From the makers of Morbius.
You know who else has Sony's? Or who else Sony has? The Spider-Man.
I understand that.
Yeah.
The cartoon version of Spider-Man that Sony has is going to be amazing. And we can get into that later. Let's talk Mando right now. Mando Season 3. So, new trailer just came out a few days ago. at this point. But can it be March 1st now? Like, can we can we have that right now? Like, I want to watch it now. I've wanted the next season of The Mandalorian since we got basically Mando season 2.5 during Book of Boba Fett.
Oh yeah, that the 2-episode spinoff journey that we got. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, that was a good little like kind of like just kind of kept us nice and nicely fed. It fed us little goodies for a little while we waited for the next season, right?
Yeah.
And of course we had Andor later on, which really kind of satisfied that hunger, which kind of leads right up to this little build up. We have Bad Batch. Like Star Wars has a pretty consistent schedule going on where like there's not a lot of time in between all the stuff that they give us. So it's cool that we don't have to actually wait all that long, and we have some Star Wars along the way to keep us occupied.
What Power Rangers is coming out in April on Netflix?
Yeah, you should talk a little bit more about that.
I do not know about that. You fill us in on that. We're going to talk more Mando while you fill us in. But yeah, man, this looks like it's. I mean, we did, just like you said, we had that small goodies, 2-episode glimpse at extra Mando and Grogu.
It's basically the reunion of Din and Grogu.
Exactly. So we got that out of the way. So now we're picking up right after they fly away in the ship. And we had the best ending scene where he's like tapping on the glass and wants to go hyperspeed. I love that one. Or warp speed, I guess. But this just looks crazy in the best way possible. I am all for it. I don't want to gloss over anything that you really want to talk about. That's why I'm kind of
talk about it. Dude, go for it. If there's anything on there you want to talk about it.
I am so excited to see, I guess, Grogu finally, start understanding how to use powers and not just using them as like a reflex or using it for a second and then passing out. Because just from a glimpse in a trailer, obviously he understood some of it. He retained some of his training that he got from Luke that we saw during the Book of Boba Fett.
Right.
So I am really excited to maybe see these two as an actual duo instead of having the dynamic that we've had for the first 2 seasons where Mando has basically just been the protector the entire time. Yeah. Like I'm excited to see, and just like I said, slow glimpses of, Grogu kind of using the Force when Mando was really in trouble type of thing. But I am excited to kind of see that dynamic, to see if we get that dynamic shift where it shifts from protector to duo. I'm excited to see, hopefully, having that kind of change. I'm not expecting it to be like 50-50. Obviously, Mando's way more skilled in combat, way more skilled just in general, about like the capabilities of surviving and bounty hunting in general. But I am excited to kind of see that dynamic just slowly shift. And I think as the seasons go on, hopefully we get more past season 3, but as the seasons go on, I think that dynamic is going to equal out to the point where Grogu really does end up becoming fully capable of wielding the powers and, is able, like, obviously, like we had with Yoda. Yoda was like a Jedi master. So, I mean, Grogu has the potential for that. And so I'm excited to kind of see that kind of shift in Grogu kind of being this helpless 99% of the time to, being an equal type of thing. That's kind of one of the things I'm really excited for. And it looked like from the trailer that, he is starting to understand what he can do.
Yeah, I think it's funny seeing him use his little Force powers from his little kind of like floating crib that he kind of has. That which looks like it's got a little bit of an upgrade. Looks like he's got like a little like Beskar. I want to call it a crib, but I feel like there's another word for it that I'm just kind of like it's not clicking in my head right now. But yeah, I think it's kind of cool. There's one thing to remember too is that the way that species ages, of course, Yoda is 900, and we're seeing he's still only like a 50, but he's still like a little baby.
Right.
So like we can only see so much of like a leap forward in his progress from his time, especially from his time with Luke, where we kind of got to see the little glimpses of like the little hopping around that we saw from Yoda, and so I think we'll be able to see him like show that he's capable and like these kind of like if he's stuck in like a one-on-one situation, like he's cornered, he can get us up out of there. He's kind of already done it before in the past, but
Right.
um, I think it's more the fact that he's probably going to have like more confidence in himself.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's kind of like so yeah, I guess that more inner growth within Grogu, not necessarily like a skill progress. Which I don't think I don't think you're saying that, but I think that's what you're trying to say, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, what I was trying basically, I mean, to exactly summarize what you said, I was trying to say, like, we know that the potential is there because of
Yeah,
Yoda
right.
and him being the same species and stuff like that. So we know that potential to wield the Force and those powers and stuff like that is there. It's just it's a training level and it's a confidence level that we haven't been able to see yet. And I do think that big turning point obviously was, training with Luke for the short period of time that he did. And also we got to see it in Book of Boba Fett when he took on the Rancor.
Right. Yeah.
So
And
I
he's
think,
like the animal tamer,
yeah,
essentially.
yeah. So
Um so yeah, I this trailer was really, really good. It has kind of
so much is happening.
yeah, exactly. There's a lot happening. I've heard I want to credit I think Christian Harloff who said this one time. It's that like Andor, was kind of like the really cool, like the best written Star Wars show that we probably got. But like when it comes to the Mandalorian, it scratches every little like itch that you're looking for from a Star Wars TV show. It's got the space battles, it's got the adventure, it's got this great character dynamic. It's got lightsabers. It's got everything that you're looking for from a Star Wars TV show and kind of and more in a sense. So that makes you like that makes that week to week. And of course, Grogu is that the face of the show that kind of keeps the general audience coming back every time. Of course, that's why he's all over this trailer. Like him, it's whether it's him in the new ship or it's that final shot of him using his force push or whatever. Like he is what keeps people coming back. And yeah, I just loved every little bit of this trailer. Um, we got YouTube bots. This is so funny.
What do we have?
Yeah, bots in the comments. Yeah.
Holy shit. They
Yeah.
are going crazy.
Yeah, don't even worry about it. So
We need admins. By the way, if you'd like to be an admin for us, either on Twitch or on YouTube, this is your time to shine.
that's your audition sign is seeing those right there. Just
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
click on them, people.
Yeah, definitely don't click. You're not looking for our girls right first.
That's funny.
But we are in need of moderators. So if you'd like to sign up, this is the kind of the thing that we need help with. I didn't want to cut you off. I did have one idea, like one thing that hit me when you were just talking that I just wanted to say before you, and then you can go right in because there's so many things you wrote down on here about the trailer, and I want to make sure that you say everything you wanted to. But really quick, the cool dynamic of getting Andor and getting the Mandalorian is Andor is kind of at the end of the prequel trilogy and leading to the original trilogy. And Mando is at the end of the original trilogy and leading towards the later trilogy, basically.
Right. Yeah.
And so it's having both of those series in these pockets of time is so awesome to
It's
be
important
able
to fill in gaps. Yeah.
not only that, but it's just like for the nostalgia factor of anyone who really likes, the prequel trilogies, you get a lot of remnants from that, from Bad Batch, from Andor, stuff like that, because obviously they're reusing some of that tech and stuff like that. That's the tech that they have. They're starting to advance that tech from, episode 3 to A New Hope. Like that's the big. So there's you see some of the old tech, you see some of the tech that you recognize from the original trilogy, and then you see not only tech, but you also see some signs of all of the stuff that's been, I guess, ravaged from the end of Return of the Jedi or Revenge of the Jedi, Return of the Jedi. And you see some of the stuff being repurposed, but then like you even go back even further with Mando, because now you see him getting a ship from the prequel trilogy.
Naboo Starfighter, yeah.
Exactly.
One of my favorite ships in all of Star Wars, to be honest.
Yeah, and it's so cool to just have like these pockets of time in between all of the different trilogies now.
Yeah.
And it's just very exciting to kind of see that, because it's nostalgia built on nostalgia in different sections of nostalgia.
And it's just amazing added detail, right? Like when the way they talk about it, like when of course when we first see the Naboo starship, Peli Moto, who we see in the trailer, again, we'll talk about her in a little bit, but I think she talks about kind of like, the way they talk about like old vintage cars, right? From like the 50s and 60s. And I'm like, well, we used to watch those stories too when those things were like the hot ticket, right? So it's like, okay, now we get to see what these things are really made of. And we as fans who watch Star Wars, we know. But it's kind of cool when you see it through the eyes of like characters in different timelines. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's just really cool how they're able to kind of like do these little thread ties throughout the different eras of Star Wars. And I think that's what I like most about when Star Wars does this kind of stuff, is when they tie stuff from other eras together. Not just, hey, we're in a new era, we got to bring in a bunch of new stuff,
Right.
and everything's got to be new, whole different look. I'm like, this doesn't feel like it's Star Wars, but it doesn't feel like Star Wars,
Right.
So yeah, big credit to that right there. There's some. So yeah, I was talking about Peli Moto, played by Amy Sedaris, who is a character that has really grown on me over time. I think she used to be kind of like, when I first saw her out, the just scares a little bit too like goofy for me for this show. I feel, from what I want from the show, almost seems like a character you would run into at like Disneyland or something like that, like going around like, hey, what are you doing? You're gonna come buy some stuff in my shop? Like, it's kind of like
In
that kind of
Galaxy's
vibe.
Edge.
Yeah, exactly. So, but then there is a shot of her and R5D4, of course, from A New Hope, which is great. One of my favorite Easter eggs in the show is the fact that R5 is still around. But there's a shot of, I think, Mando and taking off in his ship, probably from the end of an episode that takes place likely on Tatooine. Which you can have a Star Wars show without at least one little appearance of Tatooine in there. I think Andor didn't do it, but either way, every single one's had a Tatooine in it in some form or another. It is the pinnacle like location of Star Wars, I feel like. But that leads me to wonder if we're gonna get like some neat little cameos, because there's a lot of characters on Tatooine right there. We still got Boba Fett and Fennec Shand. They're still out there doing their thing. We could see them. But I also want to know if we'll get a follow up to the post credit scene of Book of Boba Fett with Cobb Vanth sitting in Boba Fett's actor tank. So I think that'd be a cool way to be like, hey, you're up on your feet again. What's been going on with you? I like seeing the dynamic between that character and Mando.
Yeah.
So that's another thing I'm looking forward to. Sure.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much, and I mean, we could go back for forever, but I mean, the biggest thing is they're going to Mandalore, which, look, and I'm not even going to talk like I know there's a ton that you want to talk about with Mandalore and stuff like that, but it still confuses me, because at what point, like, is this the season where we're gonna have Mando have that moment of clarity where he understands that like the Mandalorian thing that he's been in is kind of like a cult thing? Because it just
Right.
Eventually he's gonna have to have that, right? Like at some point. So I thought that was already had broken, I guess. But it sounds like, I mean, that's what he wants to do. He wants to go to Mandalore to, make amends, basically.
Yeah, that's so. He said, I assume he's talking to the armorer in that scene.
Right.
I have to imagine there's going to be a pretty big arc with her as well in this season. I think she's a really fascinating character. But also, it kind of seems like at the same time that Din is like training his own crew of like Mandalorians. We see a lot of different Mandalorians in there with different colored helmets. It's almost similar to Sabine in Rebels. Like we just see a lot of variety and personality in people's helmets. And then we see shots of Bo-Katan and her Death Watch Mandalorian crew, basically, and that amazing shot where they drop out of the ship. And I love that we're gonna get to see some like Mandalorian warfare, essentially, which is just kind of like some of my favorite episodes of Clone Wars is all the stuff that happens on Mandalore. So again, I highly recommend watching those episodes if you've never seen that. Rebels does a lot of stuff involving Mandalore and the Darksaber as well. So you trust me, there's plenty of great Mandalore content to soak up before this third season, which I'm so glad they're finally heading to Mandalore too. And we're also going back to Coruscant as well.
Yep.
Which is really cool. I don't know if it's a flashback scene or if it's actual present day scene in Coruscant, which like a post original trilogy scene set in Coruscant is not something I thought I'd see. Which we were supposed to get one in episode 9, but it didn't happen. But yeah, I am super excited to see what that doctor from the first season is doing on Coruscant and why he would be there and what his purpose would be. And my God, there's so much to love. But okay, the one last big thing I want to talk about because I feel like it's a big thing involving our favorite little new Mandalorian Grogu. We get a great shot in this trailer of what looks like the Jedi Temple. Hello, Billy. What's up? How you doing,
Billy?
Where it looks like we're in the Jedi Temple during Order 66 again, and we've seen I think this shot a couple times. From the one like it's kind of like showing Grogu's perspective. Oh my gosh, yeah, the first episode of Last of Us. Guys, check out our recap.
As soon as Rico, as soon as you finish your thought, we'll talk. We'll touch on that before we get on to anything else. Billy, stay posted. I want Rico to be able to finish his thought, and then we'll mention it and we'll talk about it.
Yeah. I'm doing what Danny does, and I see a comment, I want to address it. But I know. Okay.
I know. I'm trying to help you.
Okay. So we see a shot of what looks like four. Oh shit! Yeah, are we doing this again?
No, I have Chewy on my glass. I just realized.
Oh, okay. I thought you were a cheer thing. Sorry. I see you did it to me now. We're good. Rails? We're back on. But we get a shot of what looks like from Grogu's perspective of like 4 Jedi, I'm assuming protecting him. We see something trying to break into the door. We can only assume it could be clone troopers, possibly another lightsaber coming through. So I've seen a couple different kind of theories that this could either be Anakin, or which would be crazy to think that if like Anakin broke into there, killed those Jedi, but he was somehow within feet of Grogu, would be pretty interesting. But I don't see the sense in that so much, because I feel like if Anakin did see Grogu in there, he would have just went like bam. But I think this could be, we will see who actually saves Grogu from the temple. I feel like you build up 3 seasons to find out who did it. This is the perfect time to reveal it. And I have one theory who I think could do it. Last year we got Obi-Wan Kenobi, right. And we learned in one scene where Obi-Wan's in this kind of like underground temple with a bunch of markings in there, and he learns that another Jedi friend of his, Quinlan Vos, was in the same location as him at one point. And we also learned at that point that Quinlan Vos was helping like kind of like smuggle young like Padawan children through this kind of like underground temple that they had kind of developed before they got kind of compromised by the Empire Invader in that episode. Mm-hmm. But so we know that Quinlan's kind of always been like this kind of like rebellious Jedi kind of figure. He's a really cool character in my opinion. This would be a great time to do like the live action Quinlan Vos cameo in my opinion, just to prove that he was the one that got Grogu out, smuggled him out to wherever he got him to, and then wherever happened to him from there just happened. But I feel like there's got to be a major reveal in terms of like who got Grogu out of the temple that night.
Yeah, I don't even have a guess. Like I am totally there with you that I think this would be the perfect season to see that. Obviously, we're getting a flashback of that no matter what, whether we just get some, bits and pieces here and there and we don't get the payoff of it, or if they actually do pay it off and we get to see like the full scene of how he gets out and who does it and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm excited either way. I think that's awesome. Anything we can get like during like live action during that era, and especially connecting, just like you were saying originally, connecting more threads to the original stuff that we already have. I think it just fleshes out this particular series even better. So yeah, I'm excited.
And we don't get any Moff Gideon in this trailer too. I want to know what that character's up to. I love me some Giancarlo Esposito.
Yeah.
So, yeah, give me more of that. Like we got to get some more Empire. Or I guess I wonder if this is like kind of like that weird, like almost like Andor, the transition of Empire to First Order type deal.
That's another.
We did get that one little line in the trailer, like there's something big coming. We're like, what is he referring to in this case? It was that one Rebel pilot.
I read two theories on that. One is what you just said was the First Order slowly building. By the way, aloha, Martin. That is the first one, is the growing, just kind of underneath the current of the First Order. The second is Thrawn.
Oh yeah, Thrawn. Yeah,
Thrawn. Sorry, I've been watching The Flash.
Yeah, Thrawn is the reverse Flash for sure.
I apologize. I have been doing nothing but just in the background while I'm editing our recap videos. I have to have stuff on, so I've had all the seasons of The Flash.
Great character
from the CW Flash on. Yeah.
Yeah. Aloha, Martin.
But anyway, yeah. Super excited. Anything they can give us.
the Star Wars Eobard-thon crossover. Yeah.
It's all connected.
Oh my God, speedsters have invaded Star Wars. Perfect.
Now Martin and Billy are just talking back.
Yeah, let them be. Let the chat be. Let the chat be. We have a pretty cool topic to get into still.
Well, yeah, we have that, but I didn't want to,
Oh yes.
rush to finish. But are you mostly done talking about Mandalorian stuff? Because I did want to bring up The Last of Us before we got too far away.
Yeah, the only real thing I thought that was really cool was seeing a Kawaki monkey lizard. If you know those things from Return of the Jedi, that's Salacious B. Crumb. He's and Jabba's little palace. But yeah, see, I think it's really cool to see old school aliens and all that again. So I'm like, I believe it's on the planet with Carl Weathers' character Grief Karga, where Amanda goes and sees him. They do that Predator handshake, like Dylan, So I thought that was really cool to see. I just wanted to point out that was really, cool to see a Kawaki monkey lizard. That's what they're called, if you didn't know that. So yeah, the Force versus the Speed Force. Oh, the Speed Force is with you always.
The Force versus the Speed Force. Who wins? We should put a poll up. That's an interesting question.
The Force wins always.
You don't think
it finds us, it penetrates us, all that.
Yeah, but that's what the Speed Force does for speedsters.
Sure. Look, how fast are you?
I'm not fast at all.
There we go. What's Speed Force?
The
Force does not discriminate against the slow.
Whoa. Now I got text messages from Billy McDonald.
Hey, Billy, stop texting. We're doing a show.
This is what qualifies for Mandalorian content.
All right.
Anyway, let's bring up the topic that Billy McDonald originally told us. Oh wow, I can't read everything right now.
Yeah, stop looking at your phone. So yeah, we were talking earlier, and Billy did comment that you watched the first episode of The Last of Us. If you don't know, we did drop our first episode of the of our recap segment for The Last of Us, essentially. First episode, I think it's an 8-episode show. So for the next 8 weeks, you got us covering that amazing. Oh, it's a spoiler review for sure. We won't spoil it here, but we did. No, we won't spoil it on TV. Don't worry about it. If you want to go check out our recap of that, go check it out. It's really great.
We won't spoil anything here. So Billy, don't put any spoilers in the chat. But once you watch it, check out our recap about it, because I mean, we both came from a place of playing the game already. At least both of us played the first one. So what was really cool about it, and I mean, we said this all in the recap and stuff like that, is you kind of know essentially the big chunks of things that are going to happen, but they did a really good job of building suspense and kind of fleshing out a lot of stuff in between. So it's not just regurgitated stuff for a different medium. It's actually, a good, solid story. And it just so happens that like some of the things are identical to the video game, and some of the key things that have to happen obviously are going to happen.
Yeah.
But they give us a lot more, and that's what's really cool. And man, it may revitalize the zombie genre, like at least for me,
A
like.
fresh take on it. It's a fresh take on a familiar concept for sure.
But yeah, but not only that, like we had like peak zombie stuff like during the first couple seasons of The Walking Dead, because we had like The Walking Dead, we had Left 4 Dead 2, the video game, we had Dead Island, the video game. We had all of this stuff coming out during that era of the early seasons of The Walking Dead, and then it kind of completely just went away because everybody kind of got tired of it for a while. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you weren't really seeing a bunch of zombie movies anymore. But this, I mean, if this does really well, we could get, a new like surge, I guess, of zombie stuff again, which I'm all for. I didn't get tired of it. They creep me out in the best way possible. If I really want to get creeped out, I'll watch zombie stuff.
Right. So DB asks, is the game like a pick your own storyline? No, it's a linear storyline that you play all the way through. It's about two characters named Joel and Ellie that we meet in the first episode, and it's an adventure all about them. But it's a if you play games like God of War, then the way you're following one particular storyline all the way through, that's just the way it goes. Or Uncharted, like it just kind of goes like that.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, to kind of go off what you were saying, I wasn't even necessarily thinking about this in terms of like the zombie genre. I'm looking at this in terms of video game adaptations, because I feel like we've been in this long slumber with video game adaptations that just haven't hit the mark the way we want to. I mean, recently we had Halo come out, and it didn't.
Man,
We don't have to talk about that. But I think something that we're seeing here is that when you adapt a video game, just because we played the story doesn't mean that we don't want to see the story again. Like
Right.
we'd like to see the story, because that's what made the game successful. So I hope that this not only kind of inspires video game adaptations going forward to kind of just take a more direct approach to it, but also like don't try and condense it into a 2-hour movie, because you lose a lot of what makes your great game great and the world building great. It just feels like TV shows are what video games should be striving to be. We have shows like Arcane, now Last of Us. They're kind of proving that pretty perfectly. But a game personally that I would like to see get made into a TV show is Ghost of Tsushima, which would be a great show set in feudal Japan. I feel like this is kind of like that same thing you can do. If there's something like this works, you can do a game like that, which is just like that's what I want to see. I want to see games like that get taken seriously as far as like the must see TV of the week, especially HBO level. Like that's what we want.
I mean, obviously this had a huge premiere, like ratings premiere. I think as long as this whole thing does very, very successfully, we could see that be a trend. In not only zombie stuff, but I'm just saying we could see more chances on video games. But
Amazon doing God of War too, so that's like
what I will say though is I think it has to be the right movie, or it has to be the right video game.
For sure.
Because I don't think you can take anyone. When you very quickly said, Halo kind of was a bummer. If I could pick one, I would 100% whoever did this and brought in the original, person behind the Last of Us video games to consult and to, help out with this. I want the same crew, and I want the creators of Halo 1 through 3. And that's what I want. Right. I want a mini series. I want a whatever. I want that storyline. Halo 1 through 3. Best for me, one of my maybe not best, but one of my favorite, trilogies in video games, because I really was playing it for a storyline.
Yeah.
And that that anytime they mentioned anything, because we were supposed to have a Halo movie a long time ago too.
Yeah, I think it was supposed to be Neil Blomkamp, who did District 9 and Elysium and all that. I think he would have been a great perfect match for that. And if you brought him in, like the creator, that's another thing. You gotta get the director who fits the style of what you're adapting. And then of course, if you have the creator input, that's even better, right? So it's just
I think the rumor was District 9 turn into what happened. Like they ended up going that route because the Halo thing fell through. I think they were originally that was
I think he
going
got
to
it
be
after
Halo.
District 9, but I'm not 100% sure.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, because that's what made his name from what I remember.
I see. There was something having to do with District 9 or whatever director was supposed to be doing the Halo one was going to do that and it got scrapped for a different and they ended up reusing some of the stuff for the movie that they ended up doing after that. It got scrapped type of thing. But yeah, I think if it's I loved the first episode. I almost said something. I don't want to say anything, especially.
Yeah.
But what I will say, another very glossed over thing is when you have good storytelling and you make a good product, it works for both camps of viewers. It works for viewers like us that are coming from the end of we've seen this story, the video game version. But it also works for people who have never played the video game because
Yeah.
it is just genuinely I mean, like and I said this in our recap, we're taking a snapshot of episode 1. But, just as the snapshot of episode 1, it is a great story that they're and very attentive to detail and so you enjoy it whether you know what's going to happen because you played the video game or whether you don't know the story in general at all.
Right.
I think a good product, no matter what, is a good product. And that's what's really cool about this is you can really tell that everybody that was part of this cared and wanted to make the best they could make, no matter what.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah. But you want to get into some of our top 5 things that we're most anticipated for in 2023?
Oh yeah, dude. Let's talk some freaking movies.
Yeah. So that's what we're doing. That's our topic this week. We've been wrapping up some of the stuff from 2022. Now we're finally into 2023. And as we were saying at the start of this, there are so many movies coming out in 2023.
Sure are. So many good. Yeah. I have a whole list here of all the stuff, and I almost want to just like list them all off, but we wanted to condense it down because we don't have a lot of time.
Yeah. You want to start off with some of your honorable mentions?
Absolutely. Man, it was really tough to kind of like omit some of these from my top 5. I was, wanted to kind of like diversify the love I was given to some either like certain franchises or just it was just really kind of narrowing down my top 5 outside of a couple was really tough. Oh, excuse me. But I'll start off with I'll kind of line off a couple of the DC ones that I'm excited for. I actually forgot to put this on, but I'm very excited for Shazam, Fear of the Gods, of course.
Oh.
Yeah, I can't. I rewatched the first one actually for Christmas, which I was like, hey, a nice little DC Christmas movie. I could have watched this or Batman Returns, and I was like, I want to laugh, so I'll watch this. And man, there's so much charm and heart to this movie. Zach Levi is just really perfectly cast as Shazam, and as well as Asher Angel, or I think his name is, who plays young Billy Batson, and then Jack Dylan Grazer, who plays like the brother, the kind of the disability brother that he's kind of his best friend, his psychic. Both wonderful characters in this that kind of keep you invested throughout the whole movie. But I'm kind of really excited. I'm not kind of. I'm really excited to see kind of how this story progresses with the Shazam family now that all the kids have gotten their powers, and they've probably gotten a little bit older, so that that maybe some of the Shazam family parts of them have gotten more mature a little bit. But I still hope the little girl is still adorable, and so is Megan Good, who I've always loved dearly. But we also got some pretty great villain castings in this with Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu, which is like not your typical probably comic book movie villain casting, but the fact that they're like, oh yeah, we're doing this. They're playing gods, so it's like, of course they can do whenever, no matter what age you are, if you're playing a god, there's stuff that you can do that's believable, which is I think which makes casting like just really fun, right?
Yeah.
So and the trailers for this has all been really funny. The family stuff and all that. I think super funny. Blue Beetle, cannot wait for Blue Beetle. A character I've always really loved in shows like Young Justice and stuff like that. Jaime Reyes is a really great character, I think, to kind of tackle this in a live action form. Uh, the character was also took the mantle by Ted Core was another character that took the Blue Beetle mantle. And so he kind of like developed the suit and everything. So I want to kind of see how they'll do that, like mentor, young kid kind of thing, kind of like Ant Man and Scott Lang, Hank Pym and Scott Lang.
Ah.
Yeah, so I think there's something you can do with that kind of same dynamic. Even though in Blue Beetle, the scarab is like this kind of alien technology that like looks for a host. I do think that you could do something with like the former host and the new host type of deal, and kind of see how you can do something cool with that. Um, if anyone's seen the set photos, the suit looks freaking cool.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to see some actual like edited footage in the trailers hopefully sooner rather than later, but that's not coming until later on in the year. So
Yeah.
you got Aquaman: The Lost Kingdom coming in December, which is, that movie was kind of like DC's Indiana Jones. I feel like just kind of like cool adventure, looking for this trident, of course, between Aquaman and Mara. And I'm really excited. Just it's gonna be Jason Momoa's last time as this character for sure, because he's gonna be moving on to bigger, better things, hopefully within DC's new universe, which we've heard rumors.
Yep.
But yeah, just kind of looking forward. I like these underwater sea adventures. I think they're a lot of fun. Um, yeah, that's so DC's kind of a good lineup coming up. They got 3 movies, which is really cool. I'm sure they got some good TV stuff coming out this year too. Um, and then man, some non kind of like comic book nerd related stuff here. I'm looking forward to Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. The first of a 2-part kind of like finale for what I would consider one of the best action movie franchises maybe ever. I mean, going back to the early 90s, or yeah, mid late 90s, right?
Yeah.
And these are the kind of the only movies that as they've gone on, they've gotten better and better and better and better. Like Christopher McQuarrie is kind of a godsend when it comes to these movies. And man, Tom Cruise, the last living real action movie star, or really just movie star we have left, I feel like. Anything that he does is just kind of like, he's going to go 100% the entire way. These freaking stunts that he does in these movies are astronomically insane. And so I just cannot wait to see that. And then Christopher Nolan's next movie, Oppenheimer. Some I like cool movies that dive into parts of history that I think are really interesting, and I think this is one of those that's going to be very, very good. You got Christopher Nolan, so it's going to be on epic scale, and the cast for this is I mean, there's too many names to even just go off listing. So
Yeah.
when I saw a trailer for this, it was just like, there's going to be some pretty wild stuff in this too. It's very high concept, but it's going to be a fun ride throughout from beginning to end. So yeah, those are my honorable mentions right there.
Yeah, I mean, everything, like some of the early test showings have said that Oppenheimer is awesome.
Oh yeah,
like you
that'll
said.
be an Oscar contender for sure.
Yeah, and they said if you can go see it in IMAX.
Oh yeah,
it's a Christopher Nolan movie.
it's Christopher Nolan. He makes movies for the theater, so go see it in theaters.
Right. But yeah, I mean, kind of going off what you were talking about with Aquaman, I mean, one of my most anticipated, kind of honorable mentions, this was very close, honorable mention to, top 5, is the new Indiana Jones movie, Dial of Destiny. I look, I didn't like Crystal Skull.
No one did.
But I like, the original Indiana Jones trilogy there. I mean, Raiders will always be, a very, like, one of my favorite movies to watch.
All time great.
Yeah. But this kind of looks like, they kind of went back to kind of like, let's use that formula from the older trilogy and really make a genuine Indiana Jones movie. Like let's not try to make a movie where we're, we have Indiana Jones, but it's going to be an action movie and it's going to be different and it's going to be, sci-fi and stuff like that. It looks like they're genuinely trying to make a updated Indiana Jones movie, which also looks like he could potentially be passing off the mantle, which I'm also for if it's the right person. Like I was never big on having Shia LaBeouf kind of try to take up the mantle, because I know that was originally what the original talk was during when they were talking about Crystal Skull, and before it came out, that was going to be like they were going to throw the mantle over to Shia LaBeouf, and he was going to do some Indiana Jones movies and stuff like that. But it looks like if they do it the right way, I'm down for them passing the mantle, just like they did, with James Bond movies and stuff like that. You can continue a franchise and have a character pass the mantle to someone younger and revitalize a franchise if you do it right and you keep it, solid to the source material and stuff like that. So I have a lot of hope for this one. This is, like I said, this is very close to my top 5.
Yeah, and also you gotta keep in mind this is being directed by James Mangold, who also directed another kind of like send off for another character in Logan.
Right.
So the Logan director directing what is basically Harrison Ford's kind of like swan song as a legendary character like Indiana Jones. And he's got the same kind of like you said, passing the torch kind of character.
Right.
With Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who I think plays like his goddaughter. I think he said, like, what do you say, his godfather or right?
Yeah, I think it's his goddaughter. I don't think she's actually related to him, but
she's great. She I think we said this when we recapped the trailer when it came out, that she plays the sassy droid from Solo that Donald Glover's Lando is kind of like swooning with, it seems like, but she becomes part of the Millennium Falcon.
Right.
She was the voice of that, and I think she's also in a great TV show. I believe it's either Fleabag or one of those shows, but she's just fantastic. And yeah, I'm excited to see what they're gonna do. I was not excited for Crystal Skull. When I saw it, I was like, this looks stupid. But seeing something from James Mangold alone, has me sold.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm very excited to see that. Also, I don't play Dungeons and Dragons, like
me neither.
But I mean, a lot of Dungeons and Dragons lingo has been brought more into popular mainstream because of Stranger Things. Like obviously, it's set, that's where we get all the naming for the characters. And
Critical Role too. Twitch on there, massive D&D Twitch channel on that.
Right.
Yeah.
But what I'm really excited for, because this looks like a genuine, like just fun movie, is the Dungeons and Dragons Honor Amongst Thieves. Mm-hmm. I just genuinely think it looks like a lighthearted, fun movie. And we were talking about this before we started up the stream, and just both of us are gonna go into it just wanting to have a fun couple hours. Like
popcorn movie as I
that's I was looking for that word. I couldn't remember how you described it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited for that.
Like this and Chris Pine.
Yeah, absolutely. But there's a lot of people in this one too. Like
Michelle Rodriguez, I think it's the little girl from It.
Right.
Yeah, it's great. Solid cast.
Yeah. There's a lot of people in there that I think are going to work really well together, and I'm excited to see the dynamic, and I just think it works. Another one that I had to agree with you with Shazam. Super excited for this. Love the first one. It's one of those movies. Yeah. Hanson. It's one of those movies I can always put on, and whether I'm doing something or whether I just want to watch something that's a comfort movie. I love the first Shazam, so I'm really looking forward to the second one. Other than that, I mean, this is the only Marvel movie that didn't make it in my top 5, and there's nothing against this Marvel movie because I 110% am excited for it. And
same. It wasn't. Yeah, I didn't even put my Marvel mentions, but I knew you were going to, so I knew we could just talk about it here.
Yeah, I'm talking about The Marvels, which is the sequel to not only the Miss Marvel television series and not only Captain Marvel, the first Captain Marvel movie, but also technically WandaVision. It's a sequel to WandaVision because we've got Maria Rambeau.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or Monica Rambeau.
Yeah, we were.
Monica Rambeau.
Monica, yeah. It's a Rambo. But yeah, we were talking about this before we started going live, but it would be interesting to see like why we haven't seen at least like a poster or anything for this. Yeah, we know it's been shooting and everything, but with Ant-Man coming out, which we're gonna spoiler, we're gonna talk about Ant-Man later if you didn't notice. We haven't seen any kind of promotional material, probably because maybe they're waiting for that to come out before, like, hey, if you didn't see that, now we're gonna start getting into that. Maybe there's some some tie-ins and stuff there. But you saw that post-credit scene in Miss Marvel. Of course, there's some pretty wild stuff that goes down. We don't know where the heck Kamala is, but freaking Carol's on Earth again. But where's Monica? Like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
So it set up an interesting premise that even if you weren't a fan of the first movie, which I know there's a lot of people who aren't, it's not one that gets rewatched often for me, admittedly, but I think it's fine. But I said that with the Bad Batch earlier. I'm like, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah. Well, you know what I mean when I say that. But yeah, I think they set up an interesting premise of this, especially now that we're getting into the meat of what they're setting up in Phase 5. I feel like there's not going to be many things in this phase that's going to be must miss, in my opinion.
Right. So no hate whatsoever to the Marvels. It just didn't make my top 5, but I am as excited to see it as I am for all of the ones that are on my top 5.
It suffers from a bad first impression. I think that's kind of like what because it's a great character with great potential.
Yeah. Also, I have to add this, and this is probably the bottom of the barrel of honorable mentions. I'm probably not going to see it in theaters, but I'm still like, just because of the story, like the actual story that this movie's based off of, I'm just interested to find out what the movie's like, and that is Cocaine Bear.
Oh my goodness. What a premise. What a movie.
I mean,
talk about popcorn movie.
The premise is real. Like, it did happen. A bear ate a whole bunch of cocaine and then
went on a rampage.
Went on a rampage and then died.
Yeah.
Its heart exploded. But the movie has like, what, it has Hannibal Buress is in this?
I honestly have not even seen the cast. I'll look it up real quick.
Like, one of the trailers, I believe it was Hannibal Buress is in this. But there was a lot of people. It looked like one of those movies where we're just going to see a bunch of different people in it reacting to what's going on. But we know a lot of people are going to die from the Cocaine Bear. Like,
oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, Ray Liotta's in this?
Yeah. Are you looking at the cast right now?
Oh yeah, Ice Cube's son, O'Shea Jackson Jr., the guy that played Tormund in Game of Thrones. Oh my gosh. Han Solo's in this, Alden Ehrenreich. Wow, amazing.
Yeah, there are a lot of people in this movie. Isn't Elizabeth Banks the one who
director?
Yeah, directed this movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at her.
I'm excited. It might not be on the top of my list, but it's definitely going to be a movie I'm going to pay attention to and see what the early reviews are, and I can be convinced to go see it if we want to have a venture out to the movie theater to see it. But Rico, so that's our honorable mentions. You want to get to some of our top 5s?
Let's do it.
Awesome. All right, why don't you kick us off?
All right, my number 5 is James Gunn's swan song within the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and that is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. That trailer, talk about a heart-wrenching first trailer. We know that there's going to be some wild stuff going on in this movie. But again, we're seeing our favorite space misfits back in action again. We got a nice little palate cleanser when we got the holiday special, giving us a nice little you were so quick with that. That was so funny. But yeah, I'm really excited to see the debut of Adam Warlock, which a character I've long awaited to see in the MCU. I'm very interested to see how they kind of integrated his story into it, because I know he's very much tied to the Soul Stone, and how they're going to try and kind of avoid that, which I have faith in James Gunn. He knows how to kind of like adjust characters for what they need to be for his story. But yeah, it just seems like this is going to be an emotional gut punch from beginning to end. Guardians is a great thing. It's almost like Mandalorian. It scratches all the itches. You got drama, you got action, you've got great comedy, amazing effects, great music. It's got everything. James Gunn just knows how to pull in the full package, and I feel like he's gonna wrap up the story of this team the best way that he possibly can, and I think it's gonna destroy us all.
Oh yeah, I am 110% gonna cry.
Oh yeah,
this is This is gonna be rough. This is gonna be rough.
Yeah, I'm crying now.
It is going to be rough. This is on my list, definitely higher than yours. So I will, save a couple of my thoughts for when we get to it on my list. But yeah, I am so excited to see what happens in this movie for implications for characters that will continue past this. I mean, obviously we know, this is the last time James Gunn is going to be directing the Guardians, and it's the last time we're going to get this group of Guardians. There was very specific lingo. It didn't say this is the last time you're ever going to see Guardians of the Galaxy. He said this is the last iteration. This iteration of the team, which means we could see Star-Lord somewhere else. We could see Groot somewhere else. We could, you know what I mean? Like I'm interested to see what the implications are that happen moving past this for the rest of the MCU. Because obviously, I mean, I don't think they would hype up Adam Warlock for just one movie and then we get rid of him, type of thing. Right. So I would hope that we would continue on with Adam Warlock, and then maybe we get a Guardians team with Adam Warlock as one of the members moving forward past this. On and on and on. There's tons of things we can talk about that. But for my number 5, we were talking about video game movies, and a video game movie that I'm looking forward to. Also, it shares an actor that's in Guardians 3. We got Chris Pratt as the role of Mario in the
Mushroom Kingdom. Here we come.
How did you know how to do his voice?
Oh my god, I'm so good.
I don't care about I don't care about the voice. I do think it's going to be interesting.
I haven't heard enough of it.
I mean, Mamma Mia.
Yeah, like Mario. So that's the thing. Like Mario's known for making like sound bites. He doesn't do full lines of dialogue.
Exactly.
So that's the whole thing of it. Like you can only set your expectations to like, hey, how good does he sound going? Wahoo! He sounds pretty good. All right, cool. Keep going. Like that's like all we need to really go about here, right?
Yeah. And they can integrate that and make sure that those sound effects or those catchphrases sound perfect and are right and stuff like that, and then have a different talking voice. Beyond that, everything we've seen so far for this movie leads me to believe it's going to be pretty good, and we're going to have so many Easter eggs and so many things to enjoy while watching this movie. I mean, we got Rainbow Road just in the trailer.
Yeah.
Like, so we're going to basically have some version of Mario Kart in here. There's so many characters just in this shot alone.
Really?
I'm so excited for the Easter eggs that are in this. Like, I mean, we talk about this all the time in our recap videos that like some of our favorite stuff is finding Easter eggs and just being able to enjoy that. And something that we assume that, the creators and stuff like that are really excited to have in there and see people react to having them and seeing them, stuff like that. But that's what this movie looks like that. It looks like, we're going to have a ton of Easter eggs, hopefully just a goofy, fun story. And yeah, that's all you can really hope for from a Mario cartoon movie, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, trust me. When I saw just the animation style, the way it kind of like perfectly felt like I was in the world of Mario, I felt, and then of course the stellar voice cast itself. But all that aside, like the fact that you're just like, okay, we're just gonna fully dive into this aesthetic. I think that's what you need to do, not just be like, okay, we're doing this, and then we're gonna change up little things and make it seem like, oh, that's not what it would look like or whatever it is. But
right.
No, you just gotta fully embrace what makes the world what it is, and even some of like the little clips and the scenes they've showed, like I'm like, oh yeah, I think it's handling it perfectly. Yeah, can't wait for this.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be great. Rico, what's your number 4?
My number 4 could be considered probably a controversial pick given that everything going on around the lead actor with the movie last year. But my number 4 movie is The Flash. I love the Flash character. Despite everything that Ezra Miller has been doing the last year and this kind of weird kind of like image repairing that they've been going through from just a wild roller coaster. If you don't know what happened, go ahead and Google it. I'm not going to talk about it here.
You spend an evening talking about it.
But there has to be something about all this for the studio to not pull the plug on this movie. And given like we've heard early reactions saying that this movie is fantastic. I I want to see footage from it for sure. Like all the little, like even that shot of the new suit looks great. Like I'm really excited to see what they do with that. I want to see how they integrate Michael Keaton's Batman. Like, come on, if
Yep.
people don't forget, Michael Keaton's Batman is going to be in this movie. Um, and also there's also going to be a cameo by a new version of Supergirl. So there's a lot of stuff in this movie that could really tie into what we could possibly see in the future of DC going forward, because the Flash is that one character that could also not only kind of give you that vibe of what we saw in the past, but he can usher in a new future because of the fact that he can alter timelines as a whole, right? Like the way you handle this story could literally just be like, okay, this could be the way we gateway into starting new stories for our characters. Like he did something that changes our timeline forever. Boom, fresh start for everything.
Yeah.
So if I really have high hopes for this movie. I want it to be good. I love the Flash character. Like I said, I've always enjoyed Ezra Miller's take on the character. Going into the Zack Snyder's Justice League, even kind of the brief little cameo I think he had in Batman v Superman, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I think there's a lot of potential with this character, and I want the Flash to kind of be used on a higher scale than we've been seeing him. Like the TV show does a great job with them. The actor is amazing, Grant Gustin. Like we can't say anything bad about that performance. I just need that big scale version of the Flash to really shine, in my opinion.
Holy crap! The bots are going crazy. They
There
must
they
really
go
like.
again.
Maybe they really like the Flash. We're
Yeah,
super excited.
that's YouTube for you.
but yeah, I look. I've said this many times in the past. Like I know you lean a little bit more DC. I
Mhm.
usually lean a little bit more Marvel, but I want
On
both.
everything.
I want both studios to do good, because if one studio is doing really good, then that competition makes for better movies overall. Like I want both to do good so that they have to keep making better. You know what I mean? Like I don't want anybody to coast. So I want this movie to do good. I am looking forward to it. I definitely want to go see it. All the early reports about it have been just like you said. I mean, it must be pretty good if they didn't, scrap it after everything that's been going on with the lead actor in it. I just wish that wasn't happening with the lead actor. You want to root for a movie. You want to root for the people that are involved with the movie. And I feel bad that, all of the other people that are associated with this movie that worked so hard on it, and obviously they did, if it is that good, I feel like it just hurts their name too a little bit by what the lead actor's been doing in his real life.
Yeah, I don't think it hurts their name necessarily. I just think it's a thing where you just got like I separate the art from the artist. I understand that Ezra Miller is a controversial character, but his take on the character, or their take on the character, I should say, has been really good,
Yep.
and I just want more from it. I mean, gosh, we see stuff like this with actors all the time, and we
Right.
always gotta
Right. It's not something new.
yeah. Um, yeah, this is I'm seeing it for the rest of the people who put their heart and soul into making this movie. I love Andy Muschietti as a director. He made two great movies with the It movies. So I want to see him make this kind of bigger step into the bigger the superhero genre, and just making these high budget films like he's been doing. It just sucks that it's being clouded by bad news. Same with Aquaman and the Amber Heard stuff. It's just kind of
Yep.
like this, like DC's problems were all outside of the filming part of it. When it comes to a project, it's all top notch stuff. So
Right.
uh, it's just a matter of like, yeah, you can't judge a whole project based off of like the actions of one person essentially. But
Right.
um, yeah, yeah, go team comic books. Like yeah, I don't lean towards one thing in particular. I'm everything. I want everything to look good. I just like to make sure that everything gets its due love and respect at the same time.
Right. All right.
Yeah.
So moving on from your number 4 to my number 4, and I mean there is no surprise here. I mean you can see in the background it's not lit up right now because I have not put the batteries in it yet.
Mhm.
I do have a life size version of the Proton Pack, which I am infinitely excited to play around with. But my number 4 pick is the sequel to Ghostbusters Afterlife. We don't even have a real title of this yet. and it's supposed to be coming out before the end of 2023. Right now, it's under a code name Firehouse, and a lot of the speculation of why we're getting that is that we could potentially be seeing the entire cast basically going back to New York to the original Firehouse and kind of, being trained by Ernie Hudson and some of like Ray and some like the original Ghostbusters. Like we get the new team actually being trained by the original team type of thing, and all of that happening in New York. And yeah, I mean, talk about an awesome sequel to a good sequel type of thing. If we had, if we have all of the new characters that I mean, I enjoyed Ghostbusters Afterlife a lot. I have a story behind that. Yeah, I mean, you remember that I
Oh yeah.
went to New York City Comic Con and got a sneak preview of that movie. It was supposed to be a 30-minute panel, ended up being like 3 hours because we had a 30-minute panel. Then they were just like, screw it, we're gonna play the whole movie. Like, and they just played it, and then the whole cast comes out and watches it with us. Like, incredible experience. I really enjoyed the movie. I think it was a good sequel to Ghostbusters 1 and 2, which I have always loved. And look, I really wanted to like the other Ghostbusters, the one that came out. I forget
The
what
Paul
year.
Feig one with all the female Ghostbusters.
Right.
Ghostbusters, right.
I really, really wanted to like that one. And I mean, there are parts I liked. I saw it in the movies. Like, I went opening weekend to see that one.
Just lacked something.
Yeah, it just like missed something. Like, I have no problem with, there being, a female team of Ghostbusters. I have no problem with anything. But I think that that Ghostbusters Afterlife did it right in the sense of they didn't completely, try to make it as its own thing. It existed in a universe that was already created. And I think one of the biggest things I said about the all-female Ghostbusters one was that if they had just set it in a different place and it existed in the same universe, and that somehow, someone was connected and knew about it, and they just wanted to start up call it like a franchise, a Ghostbusters franchise, I think it would have been cool. We could have connected it. I mean, we got some of the original cast, but they couldn't be themselves because Ghostbusters didn't exist in that movie.
Yeah.
I was just like, this is it. Just I don't know. I don't want to
that.
Right. I don't want to hate that one, but Ghostbusters Afterlife, I think, was the real sequel that I really enjoyed because I think it was done right and it was done in the universe that I wanted it to be in. And yeah, I am all for the new sequel coming out. I'm excited. I cannot. Yeah, it missed on the continuity. Yeah. But yeah, I'm all for them going back to New York. I think it'd be great. I'm super excited about that. And as soon as it comes out, I am ready to see it. Rico, what do you got for number 3?
Actually, Danny, can you give your number 3? Because I gotta go potty.
Oh, I see how it is.
You know how I do. You know it's not a live show unless I gotta go leave at least once.
All right. My number 3 is also on your list. I know this one. My number 3 is the next Marvel movie to actually be released. And as of right now, I was lucky enough to be able to get tickets to an early screening of this. I'm going to be seeing it on February 16th, I believe, on the Thursday before. I always see it on the Thursday before with some of my cousins. Shout out to my cousins. But I am super excited for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. This is going to kick off, all of Phase 5 and just the craziness that Kang is going to bring to the MCU in general. We're going to see some of his, real power and destruction in this movie. And, we were talking about this when we made the reactions to the trailer, the original trailer that came out. And I'm sure we're going to get another one into that. We already had a new teaser that had some new footage, which was awesome. But I just like we said during that, I don't think everybody's going to make it out alive. I think we're going to get a lot of trauma in the Marvel movies that are going to come out in this new phase. And I think this is going to kick off that trauma. And I am so worried about some of my favorite characters in this one. Rico, I was just saying how when we were reacting to the original trailer that came out for Ant-Man Quantumania, that we were saying that we didn't think everybody was going to make it out alive on this one. So,
oh yeah, I think we're getting misdirected, but yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I would really like some one of Scott Lang to survive. I would like that very much.
Oh, a lot of them's dying.
I get that. I get that.
A lot.
But yeah, so I just wrapped up some of my thoughts on that and that it being my number 3. But what do you want to? I know it's not your number 3. So do you want to do your number 3 or do you want to talk about this first?
I'll do my number 3 and then I'll go back to back and talk about that afterwards.
Okay. So
yeah. So my number 3 is the 4th installment of probably the greatest action franchise of the last 10 to 20 years. I'll probably say all time, in my opinion. I think that John Wick 4, the John Wick franchise, but John Wick 4 is the movie I'm talking about. The John Wick franchise is probably one of the greatest surprises ever, in my opinion. The resurgence of Keanu Reeves, both in not just action hero wise, but in the public eye as well. Like people freaking adore Keanu now, and I love that. But man, like every time that I watch one of these movies and I'm kind of put back into that world, this like finely crafted world that they put into like an assassin movie, with the hotel, the rules of the like you're immediately just dropped in and you're expected to kind of be like, okay, this is how everything goes. And that's what makes really good world building, in my opinion. It's just kind of like, you're not just taking this time explaining how everything works in this weird exposition way. Like, no, okay. As you meet things, you're just like, oh, this is how this works. Oh, this is how this works. And they're like, okay, it's really cool. Like the hotel is one of the coolest things, in my opinion. The Continental in action movies, in my opinion. I've heard they're going to do a TV show based on that hotel. Yeah, and I've been waiting for that for years. But yeah, man, this all started with the boogeyman avenging his dog, and this is what it's turned into with some pretty crazy action cameos. And this 4th one's gonna have some pretty great stuff with him fighting Donnie Yen, which I can't wait to see. That's gonna be some really great fight scenes. Like the fight choreography in these movies is like next level. I think that's why I'm saying this is one of the greatest action movies of all time. Movies like this and The Raid are exactly what I'm looking for in action movie sequences. The way they handle martial arts and kind of reinventing a style just for movies is beautiful. I can't wait. I cannot wait for this movie.
So I have not kept up with John Wick. Like I know I
all
saw
3 on HBO Max, by the way.
I know I saw the first one, and I believe I saw the second one, but I nothing against them. Like I enjoy them thoroughly when I'm watching them. It's just one of those things I never kept up with them. So I definitely need to catch up if I'm going to watch 4. So maybe
watch all 3. I'm going to rewatch all 3 before the 4th.
You can do a retro recap.
Ooh,
ahead of the 4th.
John Wick kills. He kills again. He kills some more.
All right. So do you want to go to your number 2 pick? Because
yes.
I mean,
here we
surprise.
Go. Yeah.
We know what your
number 2 pick is a movie that Danny just talked about while I was going a potty. It was Ant-Man the Wasp: Quantumania. I was telling him before we started recording that like this could be probably more of a recency bias like ranking. Like I wouldn't, but the more I learn about this movie, the more excited I get about it, because I feel like Scott Lang, as well as Paul Rudd, deserves a movie like this. The Ant-Man character is just kind of like, he's been a punchline essentially the first 2 movies. I feel like the first movie was a great job of balancing both comedy and drama. Kind of what you want from a really good Marvel origin story, right? But the second one was that like we've been using this word a lot lately, but the palate cleanser between especially between Infinity War and Endgame, because we had to kind of get that follow up with those characters leading up to Endgame. So it kind of suffered under what people thought Guardians 2 suffers from, which is like, hey, you're in this movie, you get a joke. And that's kind of like what happened there. But I think I remember reading something about Peyton Reed, the director, saying like, I want the movie to have more of like an Avengers level scale. And boy, like, what more do you need to do than to just be like, okay, we're going to throw in the next big bad into your movie. And like, if you remember phases 1 through 3, Thanos doesn't show up until phase 3. Like he shows up in credit scenes, but he's not utilized in this kind of way until phase 3. And I think it's really interesting that we're getting like, a version of Kang, I guess, is what we can really say at this point. But whatever we're getting now versus what we're gonna get in Kang Dynasty, oh boy, like here comes the big setup. Like phase 4 was the introductory setup of everything that we're gonna start to expand upon in phase 5. Like you got the multiverse stuff, you got the new characters, you got all that stuff. And now here we go. Now we're off and running. Like this is it. Here we go.
What's really cool about this one, and like I told you, like mine is only number 3 because my top 3 are just very hard. Like they're all very neck and neck. My top 3, but is just everything is going kind of just like what you said. Everything is going to go crazy
Change.
from this movie moving forward.
The trajectory is changing.
Yeah, the amount of things that are connected to this movie, or at least, I mean, obviously we're theorizing about everything that's connected, but I mean, we could get the Marvels can be connected to this because of the bangle. We get Shang-Chi connected to this because of the 10 rings.
Who I think is cameoing.
Exactly. That's another part of the theory. We could get the Loki series connected to this.
Oh, yeah.
Because I mean, Loki's definitely crossing into the main MCU timeline at some point.
I've always thought the TVA was in the quantum realm to some degree.
I mean, they are outside of time, so
it's a lot of stuff. Yeah, a lot of things happening in there.
Yeah, it's very and I mean, there's so many other things that are going to be connected to this, and are going to change after this. Like you said, it's just this is going to be awesome.
Yeah, you're Jonathan Majors too. Absolutely. I just cannot wait to see his performance in this movie. Man.
Yeah, it's going to be insane. And we're at this point, we're less than a month away.
Yeah, and tying it back to what we were talking about earlier, Peyton Reed directed some of the best episodes of The Mandalorian that we saw in season 2. I believe he directed the episode with Luke Skywalker in it. That amazing the finale of season 2. So if you know his capabilities of a director, I think like this is also him getting his chance to shine, that he can do not just like the silly comedy character, he can do big scale Avengers level movies. And oh man, cannot wait.
Yeah. So
only 2 weeks.
I know. I'm putting it off. Like, like when you're a little kid and it was like you as soon as December hit, you were like, oh my God, it's Christmas. And it was just like painstakingly like inching towards Christmas. So now I have to like put it out of my head. I've got to distract myself with Bad Batch, The Last of Us, stuff like that for right now. Because then I'll look up and it'll be like a week away and I'll be like, holy shit, Ant-Man's here. But right now I'm thinking about it. I'm like, oh, it's a month away. I just wanted to be here now. Especially because like you were away, but I said I was able to get tickets. I know you were too. So like now that made me even more excited because I was like, now I have tickets. Like that, even the excitement of waiting for the tickets to drop is over. Like now the only thing exciting is to actually watch it. So like I'm just like, I need to see
this. Here we go, man.
It's
a great time.
So we're in a very interesting spot. My number 2 and your number 1 are exactly the same. So I guess let's both talk about this movie. Because like I said, my top 3 are all neck and neck. And so this could very easily have been my number 1 also. But it's another Marvel property, but as we were hinting at, it's a Sony Marvel property. And the original of this is a sequel.
Groundbreaking.
Original, perfect. It's one of my favorite movies to put on. I can always put it on. I can always enjoy it. I don't just have it as background noise. I can always watch it. And what we're talking about is Across the Spider-Verse, or I was talking about Into the Spider-Verse, but Across the Spider-Verse is a sequel to that. It's a 2-part movie.
Look at that poster, dude.
Yeah. I love that poster.
Look at all these people. Look at all the Spider-Men, Spider-Women, Spider-People.
Spider-People.
But this is like, especially for my pro wrestling fans. I don't know if you remember those old Royal Rumble posters where they would have like a poster of every single wrestler on the poster that was like drawn or it would be some would be drawn similar to like the poster of like the Warriors, that movie and stuff like that. But there's some great posters that show up like, here's our whole roster and stuff like that. And like, that's what this kind of reminds me of. It's like Spider Rumble. I love it.
I mean, it looks like it's going to be a little bit of a rumble, and we have.
Oh my God! Look at that, different animation styles.
Yeah,
Uh,
he's jumping through different stages of the multiverse and stuff like that. Yeah, I am so excited for this. I was so bummed out when it got delayed originally, but now it looks like everything's good to go, and we're definitely going to be getting it. And see, where are you going, sir?
I'm putting this back. I hear you still.
I'll put this up. You could have just told me to leave the picture up.
No, we're fine.
But yeah, I am just really excited for this follow up. I think it's going to be great. Yeah, I mean, there's so many different voice actors in this. I mean, we've got Oscar Isaac also in it. I mean, we have a lot of people that when the first one came out weren't in the live action MCU and are now in the live action MCU because Haley Steinfeld.
Yep.
Now that we had
Kate Bishop and
right and Oscar Isaac, who's now
Moon Knight in there.
That was another connection I was saying. There is a rumor that Rama Tut could wind up in Moon Knight season 2.
I've heard that.
Connecting another Kang into this whole thing.
Mm-hmm. That'd be good. I would like that. I would like to see like stuff like that and the eternal. Like I want to see the cosmic side of it. How Kang factors into the cosmic side of Marvel. That would be interesting because clearly he has like this lock on like the Earth people and like the quantum verse and stuff like that. But what about the greater universe out there?
Right. Well, I mean, the rumor is that we get the Beyonder Kang as the Secret Wars villain.
I know. I'm waiting to see why they said all that out, dude. I'm just like, oh my god. Secret Wars is gonna have everything and everyone.
That's gonna be batshit crazy.
Wild rumors about that. Tony Stark.
Yeah. I mean,
America.
I mean, they got to bring. Well, I heard Human Torch. But...
Everyone. Probably both. What they can do, both. That's the whole thing. Like
that would be really funny if we got.
How do you up the scale of that end game battle? Bring in every freaking person you can think of.
Yeah.
Bring in Ben Affleck's Daredevil. I don't care.
And Charlie Cox
as Ghost Rider. Let's do it.
Yeah, they're just standing next to each other, Charlie Cox and Ben Affleck.
Yeah. Colin Farrell's Bullseye. Yeah, all that.
But is there anything you wanted to throw in about Across the Spider-Verse before I go to my number one?
Man, can you talk about like a more perfect superhero movie in general than Across the Spider-Verse? I feel like that's one you can talk about widely among anybody you talk to who's seen it. Like, yeah, I love that movie. It's groundbreaking animation. The story is amazing. It's the soundtrack is amazing too. But getting to dive back into that world with all those characters and also expanding that world with even more Spider-Man is great. There's a reason why Spider-Man and Batman are two characters that just transcend everything, and that's why The Flash made it onto my list. Is because Michael Keaton's Batman is in it essentially, and when you have Spider-Man and Batman coming out in movies in 1 year, both those are going to be in my top 5 because those are two of literally the greatest fictional characters probably ever. The way they relate to real people in general, that's why again they transcend just like that whole Marvel versus DC BS that people like to perpetuate. I love it all, and for those two characters right there, that's why I love both. Like, you give me both those, I can watch movies with both those characters forever. And so give me more Spider-Man, give me more Spider-Verse, give me all the Spider-Man and all the Spider-Verses. I want it all. It's oh god. And the trailer was so great the way it's undercutting all the stuff we remember from the first movie, and the great voice lines from her mother or his mother. It kind of encapsulates what the whole action and also the heart of Spider-Man as well. And I can't wait.
Same. I am super excited. I can't wait for that. I did want to say congratulations to Billy McDonald because he joined us in the club of getting the advance tickets for Ant-Man. Congratulations.
Love that.
Yeah. All right. So I had to do this, and like I was saying, my top 3, they're all basically number 1. This just inched it out. And you already mentioned this, but I had to go with Guardians of the Galaxy 3. The reason being only because this is our last ride. This is is the last ride of this iteration of the team. We know not everybody's making out of this movie alive. There's definitely going to be big things that are going to happen. And I mean, I've said this many times. I've talked about many times on how the first Guardians, how big of a surprise that was, and how much that blew me away when I first saw it and knew nothing about the characters. Just took a chance on going to see it and stuff like that. So they will always be like near and dear to me as a team and as characters. So yeah, I had to put that one in there. Not that I'm not looking forward to Across the Spider-Verse or Ant-Man or any of the other movies we've mentioned, but just I know this one's gonna hurt. This is gonna hurt.
Yeah, man. Those some shots in that trailer really hit hard. And again, it sucks to see James Gunn step away from the MCU, but and to see what he's gonna be able to do with these actors and just stories in general going forward is gonna be really amazing to see. Yeah, man. It was tough to not put this at number one because this is the only one I feel like is gonna like stand on its own. Kind of like how a lot of stuff that came out for Phase 4 last year kind of did. There's a lot of stuff you could tie into the overall arc that's gonna happen, except for maybe Moon Knight and Thor. Because Thor kind of like the cosmic stuff kind of stands on its own. And that's when I feel like what Guardians is gonna do. I don't think there's gonna be anything in here that we're gonna see is gonna be like, okay, we're gonna look forward to that in Avengers. You know what I mean?
I could see Adam Warlock maybe.
Yeah, there's stuff that they could set up. Like Thor did set up Hercules. But we don't know how all that's gonna play out moving forward. Like what the next step's gonna be. I feel like that James Gunn's gonna keep this relatively contained to one, close out the story of this amazing group of characters that he introduced back in 2014, which is crazy to think of how long ago that first movie was now.
Almost exactly.
But also,
10 years.
yeah, exactly. Almost 10 years, 9 years. I'm like almost to the day because I think the first one came out in the summer.
It did.
Yeah, like in August or in May. They all came out relatively close to each other.
Right.
But also he's going to do a good job of like kind of laying a foundation to hopefully continue this world of characters going forward, even if it's not all of the core characters that we grew to love.
Right. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I have full faith in James Gunn as giving this a very, very solid send off, and it's gonna hurt, but it's gonna be the perfect send off that we could possibly get. I know that for sure. So I'm here for it. I'm ready. I'm trying to mentally prepare for it because
I know, right? Absolutely, I hear you.
I just know it's going to be so heavy, but I'm just like, I want it, but at the same time, I know it's going to break me.
Yeah, I mean, both moments from the first two movies broke me, so I'm expecting there's going to be a pretty big one in this movie as well, probably the biggest one.
Right, exactly. So now that we finished our list, do you want cheers one last time? Cheers, everybody! Now that we are officially both out of drinks and out of movies to talk about, there's only one other thing to say. That's what we think! Let us know in the comments below, what are your top movies that you're looking forward to in 2023? And as always, don't forget, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to hear about all of our video and audio releases. Don't forget, we do have the audio version of the podcast. And if you haven't already, please like and subscribe at all of the places that you can find podcasts. We are up on Apple Music, Google, everywhere right now. Amazon Music, I think even Audible. We're some pretty interesting places. Every single subscription helps us. Every single like there helps us. We are trying to build a little bit of a following on the audio side so that we can do some really cool and fun stuff audio only and, get into some more video only stuff too. We're going to be doing a lot of really fun stuff in 2023. There's so many things that we're looking forward to. We really want to bring you guys with us. And the only way you can do that is to keep up with everything that we're doing, not only on our social medias, but where we're releasing everything. Nothing else to say, but we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody!
Poppin' Off presents That Recap Show.